All right, everybody, I'm back. I don't know what happened. Maybe Instagram was tripping on this a little bit, but we just got kicked out. The live ended, so I'll send Mechelle another request to come back, and we'll pick it up from there.
Don't know what happened.
Yeah, me neither. I just was like, oh my God, what happened?
Hey, maybe Instagram has started to not like the cigar smoking video. I smoke in my patio all the time, and I always shoot from the backyard back here. So who knows?
It's okay.
But
Maybe it's our electric personalities
you
that's
know
making
that's
it turn off.
that's you know
Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking. There's
it's too much
electricity all in here.
electricity,
That's a
Justin.
whole lot of energy in this thing.
That's
So let me
exactly
get
what it
right
is.
to it, man. I gotta get right to it with you because I don't want to start fanboying all out on the screen like I do. You know, I
Goodness.
get around you, I
But
start
we're
fanboying.
family.
Yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean,
but
the
still, I be
love is
excited.
there.
The love is always there. You're right about that. So look, Michelle, can you share a little about your early life and where you grew up?
So I'm originally from Florida, from a small city called Port Charlotte. And for me, I would say not just growing up there, but kind of moving along. So I was born in the Orlando hospital. The Orlando hospital, we lived in Cocoa with my grandparents. And then we left there and we went to Palm Bay. And then from Palm Bay to Port Charlotte, which is where I like spent the majority of my childhood and also graduated high school from. So it was quite the experience. I am very grateful that I had an experience in a very kind of um, village atmosphere. So I had my grandparents, I had my godmother, I had my great uncles, I had everybody in the same area. Um, and so it was very like helpful. I
Hmm.
mean, just think about the children now in this world. Some of these children don't know what it's like to know your great uncle or your great aunt
Right.
or your grandparents, and didn't have that advantage. So I'm grateful because I can think about moments where I sound like one of those people, because I have that in me. I grew up with that. So it's very interesting how you having such a village around you can transform you into be so much of a better person.
It's interesting because that was going to actually be my next question. Like, how did you feel? What was the biggest advantage of the way you grew up? How did that really help you to shape who you are today? And it's clear and evident. But if you had to look back on one experience in your life, what would you say would be one of the major experiences that helped you shape who you are today?
Honestly, I would say, okay, so this is going like way back deep. Okay. So I was in third grade and I was actually just having difficulties with getting through with math,
Mhm.
and it just was a problem for me, right? I can count money, right? That's most important. But all these other things that you want me to do, I'm not quite there. And that's okay. So
Yeah, heck yeah.
it was fine. It was totally fine. Okay. So my mom had a conversation with my third grade teacher, and I'm giving a synopsis because of course, I can't tell you
Right.
verbatim, but what I can do is tell you what she told me. So this particular teacher felt that I just was not ever going to be great in math, and I wasn't ever going to get an A, and I wasn't a great student, and said all of these really like derogatory things, that was absolutely unnecessary for one, speaking to a child, and then
Right.
two, speaking to a parent. And so I remember my mom advocating for me, and I think for me that was such a big deal because my mom she's a single parent, and she's being able to take on the challenge of dealing with this vibrant, super busy young lady. And she's growing rapidly, and she's taller than everybody in her class, and she's full of life. And one milestone that she's having, one kind of trip up challenge, is that she's having difficulties with math, not because she's incapable, but because she's just having difficulties, right?
Right.
And so my mom let that teacher know what was up, period.
I like
And
that.
she let her know that we will not be speaking to my child like that. And
I love it.
she will be great in math, and she will do it, like, and just being so positive about the situation, because in the scheme of things, math is this big,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
unless you are in a career that requires you to do equations that are involving, all of these different types of um, calculations, there is really no other no other reason that you need all of that extra algebra, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I think for me that was kind of a turning point, because being able to know that, for one, I am in a space where I'm different, period. And my mom is advocating for me. So that means that in the future, I can advocate for myself. And not, literally like 2 years after that, I got straight A's. So I ended up
See?
getting a straight A in math, as well as all the other subjects. And so the sad part is that the teacher that made that comment, she actually was able to see me get the straight A's, and
I,
she
I, w-
felt very
I just
horrible
wonder
after
what
that.
she looked. Yeah,
Yeah,
she had
she was
to. She had
horrible.
to.
She felt horrible about it. And unfortunately, very shortly after that, she passed away
Oh,
from committing suicide. So for me, it was really sad to know that, like, you made the decision to make that comment, but you were able to see me get that straight A in all of my subjects. And from there, I'm very sad to hear that you decide to take your life, because that's, mental health is very
right.
important. So whatever she was dealing with, I hope and pray that, she is at peace and she's at rest. But it is just knowing that, in the scheme of things, the turning point for me was, okay, I'm in third grade and I'm having difficulties, but then my mom is like advocating for me, and then I think about
Mm-hmm.
even in second grade. So I was having difficulties with reading, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
because I can't read, but because I am trying to go too fast. Like, my
Right.
brain is moving faster than what my mouth is saying. So my second grade teacher, her name is Mechelle Snyder, she actually let me read the Bible as my reading assignments in class, which
Wow.
was super cool, because if I didn't know how to do anything, I know how to read the Bible, right? So for me, it helped me with my comprehension. It helped me with being able to storytell, being able to understand, cause and effect, everything. So then we get through having issues with reading, then we get to having issues with math, and then we overcome that in fifth grade. So it was
Wow.
very, I would say, as my mom says, and my dad, I am an overcomer. I have overcome a lot of things in my life. I have been the first of in a certain room many times in my life, and I am just grateful for it, because again, that village of people that built me up. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom, my dad, and my godmother, and my nana, like all these people that,
Right.
all the teachers that were super influential in my life, that most of them I still have contact with. So
Wow.
like, you know, you, I still also have the same friend that I've had since third grade. Like,
Wow.
my best friend and I are still best friends, and we've been best friends since third grade. We were the two
Wow.
tallest kids in the school, and our parents were the tallest parents in the school. And he and I, we went to prom together, we had classes together, we went to every school together. Like, we are like
Wow.
inseparable, literally. But yeah, so I would say the turning point would be just knowing that, like, I had moments where I had to overcome something. I had a speech impediment growing up, which was difficulties, and a
Can't even
difficulty for me.
imagine that. Can't
No,
even imagine
it
that.
is so funny, because I feel like as you get older, you learn different tools. So one
Right.
thing I learned even with me doing my episodes, is just to slow my brain down. So essentially, being able to create this tapping method, this cadence. So like even with me smoking, because I'm sure you've seen the episode, this cadence with your smoking.
Right,
Like, I
right.
mean, for me, I have a cadence with a lot of different things in order to get me to where I need to go. Um, and I am so open about, me having a speech impediment in my previous life, because I'm on life 3 right now. So in my in my previous life, having a speech impediment. So, it is just me knowing that anything is possible and you can overcome for sure.
That's really cool. I think one of the things that really stands out to me that you said that resonates with me and all that you
Mhm.
just said is about your parents advocating for you. And I think sometimes in today's society, people don't advocate for their kids enough. I think they've gotten, and maybe it's because parents are a lot younger these days. I don't
Mhm.
know what it is, but I don't think some people realize how big that is. I know I've got, a blended family. My wife has 2, I have 3, so a total of 5 kids. And one
Mhm.
of the things that I find myself doing all the time is I'm in the school, I'm asking questions. I mean, you got to break it down to me like I'm a second grader because you can tell
Mhm.
me what you want, but that's my kid,
Right.
and I know my
Mhm.
kid. So you can't just tell me anything about my kid. And I think the way society is today, even in your time younger, it's important that that happens. And you know what? One of the things I think what happens for a child when the communication between the parent and the child is there, and the child can trust that the parent has their best interest at heart, those relationships between the child and parent are always better. I don't know
Mhm.
what's going on out here today. The
It's
relationships are
okay. We're gonna
always
keep going.
better. Yeah, the relationships are always better. And you know what? Those kids grew up to be really self-reliant.
Mhm.
They always grew up to be very self-reliant, self-sufficient. They're overcomers, like you said, like you
Mhm.
mentioned about yourself. They're overcomers. But let me ask you this. So what was your educational background after that? How did that eventually lead you into your journey in cigars?
So I have an Associates of Arts with honors. I graduated first in my class. And then I have a Bachelor's of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies,
Mm.
which I did 4 majors in one in the course of 2.5 years. So no
Wow.
no breaks. No breaks.
She and
Um,
she said that you was gonna be slow.
right,
God
like
bless
she
her.
said,
She just got that all the way wrong.
you'll never get an A in anything. And I'm just
Wow.
like, ooh, girl, little do you know, the Lord had his hand on me,
I'm
okay?
telling
So,
you. Wow.
so I did in within my degree, I did hospitality and tourism management, marketing, business, and communications. I had 2 internships during my senior year, and I worked 5 jobs. I was clocking in to 3 of them, and 2 of them I had side hustles. So we know exactly what we're doing.
You was kind of like a little mini
Just
roster down there in
a little
Florida,
bit. So I went to college in Alabama, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So from Florida, I left to go to Alabama. I got a scholarship there. So for me, it was being able to do all of those things in such a good time. Like it was a perfect time for me to do what I did, and being able to complete everything within 5 years is also
Wow.
really great as well. And I'm very grateful for that because, of course, like knowing what I went through,
Hmm.
and being able to know that like I just overcame so much. Um,
Wow.
so, and there's a whole bunch of things in between that I won't get too deep into, but there's just a lot that just kind of happened. And
Yeah.
so I'm just
That's
really
when life was
grateful.
life.
Yep.
Life
Let me tell you,
was life. Life was
one thing
life.
about
Life.
it is that life is going to life. Okay. Whether you
Hey,
wanted to or not, it's going
hey.
to life.
Cheers to that. You you
Cheers to
you ain't
that
never
for
lied.
sure.
Cheers. Life go life.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
so what would you say, like, as you kind of went through your journey in life? And I usually like to get the backstory, when we had these conversations, because for me, I can appreciate what a person does a lot more now when I understand where they come when they where they came from. So when you look back at it and you look at your life, it sounds like cigars weren't really a part of your life at the beginning of your life. Did you have a grandfather or
Yeah.
somebody that smoked cigars?
So
Did you?
my uncle and my dad have been smoking cigars pretty much all my life. And I always was just kind of fascinated, but of course, like as a kid, they're like, it's grown folk stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like I was invited to the party. So like, just knowing that they do it, right? And then I really became super curious enough and old enough to be able to have the conversation with my dad. So I was about to graduate with my second degree, and I asked my dad for two things. I'm real specific. If anybody that
Hmm.
knows me knows I'm very detailed and very specific, and I have a purpose for everything, right?
Right,
So,
right.
my birthday happened to fall on the same week as my graduation. And so I told him, I said, so you're coming here for my graduation. Like, so I need two things to happen. One, I want you to stay here for a week and cook for me because my dad is like the best cook ever. And when I was in college, he had like this food card that he had during the time that I was in college, like
Hmm.
help support and all these things like that.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, knowing that like I absolutely adore my dad and love his cooking. So it was just everything. And to have him stay for a week was even better. And so it was great, wonderful. So I asked him to stay for a week. And then I told him that I wanted him to teach me how to smoke cigars. And he was just kind of like,
Wow.
okay, yeah, so that first thing I can definitely do.
He went he went
But
he wasn't feeling that one, was
he was like, well, we're gonna roll it back to the second thing because ma'am.
he wasn't having that.
Yeah,
I
he
can't
was
imagine my daughter asking me that. I don't,
not
maybe, I don't
really
know.
he was not really with it, and I had to almost like beg him, please, Daddy, can you teach me, please? And he's just like, uh okay.
You hit him with the daddy word. You hit him that, when
Right,
y'all
right.
say daddy,
Because
we go nuts.
I am a daddy's girl. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
there is, I'm through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my daddy is everything to me. So like, that's just what it is. And so it is just knowing that he said yes, and so he actually made it even more special because on my 23rd birthday,
Mm-hmm.
he actually took me to the cigar lounge, walked me
Oh,
through the
wow. Mm-hmm.
humidor, gave me a brief kind of discussion. Because him and my uncle smoking, they weren't like cigar aficionados. They'll tell you like we just smoke what we like and we pick something and that's it. Like that's just what it is. We just like enjoying the time and relaxing. It's not like we are so technical.
Right.
So now that, they have an educator in the family, they are all educated and everybody is aware of all of the different techniques and types of tobacco and different cigars and things
Oh,
like that.
wow.
And so, it's very interesting because during that time, I also was finishing up two internships, working five jobs, and just like about to graduate and I'm about to move and all these other things are going on, right? And my dad took the time to actually sit there and
Wow.
smoke with me. So he told me like I had to get the cigar that he chose.
Oh,
So
because
he
I was
chose,
just about to ask you, what
right,
was that
because
like? Let's get on
he was
to it. What was that
he was
like?
serious. He was just like, I'm gonna let the tobacconist, walk you around and kind of give you more of an in-depth, right? Because that's not my ministry, as the kids say,
Right.
right? But you're going to smoke what I want you to smoke if you want this to happen. So
Okay.
I agreed.
Oh, what did
I was like,
you smoke?
okay, I
Oh,
smoked
Lord, what did
I
you smoke?
smoked a Tatiana Groovy Blue.
Okay.
And
Not too
so
bad.
and
Wasn't
so
that
for me,
bad.
this is the thing. Knowing me and how I operate, if I really like something, I start to nerd out about it. So it didn't last very long that I was smoking flavored. I would say it was about 3 months that I was smoking flavored cigars after that point. And then
Hmm.
I quickly jumped to the next level because I was just like, oh, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, I'm not really with the artificial flavoring. Like, that's never really been my thing
Okay.
with anything. So, for me, it is just knowing that, like, yeah, so we're gonna escalate this. But now it is so interesting because my dad and my uncle smoke cigars that I give them. So they
Wow.
are like, oh, they tell it my uncle is a huge golfer. And well, actually both of my uncles and my dad, that I give cigars to, one is a really big golfer and he does all these tournaments and stuff like all over the country. And he's always, telling his friends like, yeah, my niece is a cigar educator, and so she gave me these cigars. Like
I
it's a
love it.
whole
I
thing,
love it. I love it. I know. Hey,
and
is he sharing cigars with him with everybody? Follow
yeah,
moments with
he's
Michelle.
definitely like, yeah, like he's like, oh yeah, like you should follow my like whole thing, right? And then my dad, he's the cigar snob now. Like, I only smoke the best.
Hey, hey, look, when your daughter is a mover and a shaker in the cigar community, you only smoke the best. You don't mess
He's
around
like,
with.
yeah, I only
Yeah,
smoke
you
the
don't do that.
best.
You have what you develop what they call a discriminate palate. That's what that is. He
Right.
has a
Real
discriminate
particular.
palate.
Right.
Yeah, you
Okay.
get real particular about what you smoke. And I'm getting there myself, because I'm hanging out with some of y'all. I got people like you and others that I'm tight with. And, I watch what y'all doing. I get up in the morning. I look at cigars with him every morning. So,
Thank you
you,
so
you know I
much.
do. You know I do. And I'm always sitting there going like, what is she going to be smoking? Like, what's she talking about tomorrow? And then I remember one time you asked a question and I put an answer in there about the wine pairings. And then just the other day, you did a deal on that. And I was like, see, that's why that's my homegirl.
Yeah, I mean, because this is the thing. I honestly, I always tell people, not to get off subject, but I always tell people, like, if you if you want a certain type of content, tell me, because more than
Hmm.
likely I can incorporate it into what is going on and make it cigar related.
Hmm.
Cigars can be there's a correlation with cigars with so many different subjects and industries. So it is easy for me to have a little bit of help. Like, I
Right.
definitely will not run out of topics because there's so many things within within the industry to learn about. Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, you see, and I
um,
was just looking at her comments, and she don't miss an episode.
I
I
really
know one
appreciate
thing that she gonna do every morning. She gonna look at you. She gonna look at me. She gonna share what we talking about. I love that about
it.
Cincy Smoking, man. She's amazing. But let me ask you this: so when you think about your content, and we're gonna jump around a little bit because this is a conversation. It's not an interview. This is two partners having a
We're
conversation. You know what I'm
family.
saying? We family. So what are your favorite topics to talk about, Michelle, when you sit down? Because again, I've had the pleasure of meeting you and having conversations with you and having an in-depth conversation with you.
Oh yeah, because
Um,
I pulled you to the corner because I had to
yeah,
get you together, and I
yeah,
was
you
like,
did, boy. You had to get me together fast. But hey, so for those that are watching this, there are a lot of people that watch these, and I say sometimes, hey, I get really nervous when I go into certain situations, and they don't believe me. Am I lying?
no, you're not. So if I can, I will give a glimpse of our experience
Go ahead,
together.
go
Um,
ahead.
so it was so for me, it was such a great experience. Let's just start there. It was such a pleasure to meet you in person because I feel like we've been family for years, and then all of a sudden, like, we met each other in person for the first time, so it was great. Um, and I noticed your whole body language was just kind of off.
Yeah.
And my best friend, which is also your best friend,
Hmm.
Danny,
Hmm.
was sitting there and he was just kind of like, being Danny. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so Danny's good, but like, what's up with my brother over here? Like, what's going on? And you know me, I'm sitting here, you know, I'm in work mode, but I
Yeah,
am not so much in work mode that I can't make sure my people are okay. Um, and so I really took the time to, okay, no. Come on, let's go to this corner because we're gonna get you together,
yeah,
as my
yeah.
grandmama
We
used to
did.
say.
We did.
And
And people don't believe it when I tell the story. I've told this
yes.
story to several people, Michelle. They don't believe it. I was like, man, I was scared as
But
hell.
here's the
And
thing, you know that I would go to bat for you.
yeah,
And I honestly, I understood the assignment. Because we all are in a place where we are unfamiliar with a lot of different things. And as we are moving into these different rooms and meeting these different people and eating dinner and breaking bread with all of these different people who are very important in the industry, we
right.
have to also remember that there is a reason why we are there. God doesn't make mistakes.
That's
So
what you said.
because he doesn't make a mistake, he understood that I needed to be in the same room with you and all these other people, right? And so as I noticed that your body language was just, it was changing, I was like, oh, see, because if anybody's supposed to be in here, you're supposed to be in here. And
Yeah,
you
man.
are going to do what you're here to do, and you are going to be okay, and you are going to hold your head up like you're supposed to be here because you are.
That's what you said.
And right, because this thing, no, I was like, you gonna make me cuss, like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and I remember looking at you and sitting here going, man, she's speaking life into me, and we just met for the first time. And again, we communicate on social media, and it was one of those things like social media becomes reality. We always say that, it's when social media becomes reality. And I remember walking on the floor, and me and my boy were walking, and Daniel was like, man, I gotta get you over there to meet Michelle. I was like, where's she at? Where's she at? I gotta. And so he said it like two or three times when we were walking around, right? And so we saw you. I was like, wait a minute, man, let me get my shirt together. Like I was nervous as hell that day. And when you walked up, you saw I was cheesing. I was like, you I was super scared, but I really
no,
appreciated that because that set the tone for the rest of my experience. And that was my first experience at PCA. And you walking around with your own personal camera crew and stuff. So I really got nervous then. I really got nervous then. I was like, she got a camera crew, dog. She got a camera crew. So I started kind of fanboying out a little bit, but it
thing
was good.
is, it's okay to do that. It is
Yeah.
it is totally okay, and we make space for that because you have to be able to have a space where people are comfortable with meeting you, and also with you meeting other people and they're like, oh my
Right.
god, it's you, like, it's this experience that you have to be comfortable with because there's a reason that you are who you are, and how you operate is how you operate. And so if you needed someone to speak life into you, then you have to remember that at some point you're going to have to pay it forward and speak life into somebody else.
True.
I will
True.
tell you, my one of my turning points in the industry, where I really, I was having an anxiety attack. Let's just talk about that, okay? I was literally having an anxiety attack. This is my first ever like conference. I was at TPE,
Hmm.
and I was so nervous because I had done all of the research in the world of everybody who I need to know, who I need to talk to,
Hmm.
whose family, everything. Like, I know it all. Like, literally,
Right.
you could quiz me and I'm like, oh yeah, that's so and so, and he makes this and she makes this and she does this, and like I knew it all. And I know it all, right? And but I am still learning, obviously,
Right. Right.
forever
Right.
learning. I am not someone who just thinks that I can never learn anything, because that's definitely not the case. But I was prepared. I was overly prepared for me being in at TPE, and they invited me to come and took care of everything that needed to be taken care of. And it was, for me, I was just just so happy just to be in the space. Like I
Wow.
already knew some people, but I did not know nearly as many people as I like in person, right? Knowing them socially or knowing them from reading about them or reading books or magazines or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I go to have a interview with one of the really important people within the industry. I'll leave the name, right?
Okay.
And Miss Sanchez, our girl, she
Yeah.
literally got me together. Okay, just like I got you together, she pulled me
Uh-huh.
to the side.
Did she really?
She pulled me to the side and she said, because I was first of all, I was sweating, like not like ugly sweating, but I was sweating. I was I was having a whole anxiety attack. I was literally like shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like this whole whirlwind. And I had never been like that in this type of setting, right?
I can't even
Being in
imagine that. I can't even imagine
it
that, partner.
was
Like,
it was quite the moment. Let's just say that. Because I was so good up until that point. Up until I did the first interview, I was totally fine. Like I wrote my script, I did my
wow.
research, I had everything together. I had a whole thing. I was already where I needed to be, right? And she pulled me to the side and she literally said to me, she like first of all, let's start with the beginning. She used to be a teacher. So if you know that she used to be a teacher, she
Yeah.
knows exactly how to have a conversation with you in order to make you feel the
Yeah.
way that you need to feel. Okay. So I was just kind of like, oh God, like I'm in trouble now. Like something's wrong. I did something wrong. Like I was in my head. She pulled me to the side and she said to me, you are supposed to be here. We're on your time. You're coming to do an interview on our company and you're supposed to be here. So I want you to hold your head up high and I want you to sit and take a second and breathe and know that you're supposed to be here and that how you are going to do this interview is how you want it to be done. And if you need anything, if you need me to hold the camera, if you need me to hold the
That's her.
iPad, if you need me to do something, I am here for you.
That is her.
And she
Yeah.
literally, when I say I was almost in tears, you could have thought I was winning an Academy Award. I'm dead serious.
Look, she did me the same way. She came to Dallas, but even before she came to Dallas, I actually interviewed her on my third Conversations with Chevalier.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit her up, because we had been connected on social media for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit her up and I was like, Belkis, want you to come on. She was like, she just responded in my message, yes, with 1,000 S's. And I remember it was the same feeling because there was the first two people I saw outside of Daniel at PCA was you. And then when I walked down onto the floor, she was my first stop right there across from Fuente to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And she said the same thing. She gave me a little pep talk. She gave me a hug. And she always talks so calm because not only is she a teacher, but she's a counselor and she has
she's
these
a life coach.
Yeah, she has these subtle ways of talking to you that make you feel good. And she said to me, she said, now, my friend, I've told you before, you have this. And whatever you need, I'm here. If you have a question, I'm just standing here. Just come get me. Just come talk to me. Come grab my hand and say, Belkis, talk to me. Yeah, she put it right there. It's amazing because we both have had that encounter with her.
She's amazing. Like she is my cigar mama. She literally
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
she's so precious.
Yes, she
Like
is.
she is by far one of my favorite people like in the
Yes.
industry because she's
Yes.
just so amazing. Like she's amazing. Like period.
Well, we got to give her some more flowers. So for those of y'all that are just joining us, I'm sitting down with my homegirl, Mechelle Merkerson. Y'all know her from her show Cigars with Him. And on Instagram, she's known as Moments with Mechelle. So while we're having this conversation, hit the drop down, follow everybody that's on here. But we talking about our mutually favorite person, the person we probably love the most in the cigar culture, and that's
Outside of
Belkis
Danny, of course.
Sanchez. Oh yeah, outside of Daniel,
Yeah.
outside of Daniel, cause he in there. He in there. He posted it today. He's like, my two favorite people are gonna have a conversation. He talking about I don't know her. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. But the she's one of the things that she gave me some advice on. She was here in Dallas, and I went and met up with her and Carlito, and she said, you know, I want to tell you something. Take your time. Everything comes in time. She said, everything that you're doing now is exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. Don't rush it. Don't try to hurry up and open a lounge. Don't try to take over the cigar accessory world. Just be, and then she calls out my first name. She said, just be you. Just be you because that's who we love.
Yes.
And I looked at her, I was like,
And she
and,
just,
and, and like they've been saying it, I was about to cry when she said it. You know,
your heart
they
just
talking about me in
melts.
the comments. She make you cry, dude, when you ain't looking
Yes.
out.
Let me tell you,
Yeah, she
your
make you
heart
cry.
just melts. I
Yeah.
mean, you just you sit there and you soak in it because you're just like, I cannot believe she's talking to me right now. Like, I just cannot believe it.
It's
And
Belkis
because she's amazing.
Sanchez. Yeah,
Like,
it's
she
Belkis
knows
Sanchez.
everybody,
Everybody and everything, every mover and shaker. It's like everybody wants to
everything,
ride in the car with Belkis.
everybody. Like, she
And
knows
she
everything.
and she our homegirl.
She is.
She
Got her
our
on speed
homegirl. So
dial. Like,
you and me both. You and me both. Look, I ain't lying. So let's get back to it because I'll talk to you about this all night. So as a brand ambassador, your role, you know, as a brand ambassador, you represent some amazing brands. And you're all over the spectrum. You know, it's not just cigars, it's wine and spirits. You know, you're doing these things. How do you decide who you want to align yourself with when you start thinking about brands and the things that you're promoting?
so just a slight correction because I don't want people to get confused.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I don't currently have a brand ambassadorship with someone. However, I try to choose brands that are aligned with my brand, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And we would do essentially partnerships or
Hmm.
collaborations. Um, we definitely speak into existence brand ambassadorship and being able to do that in the future. But at this current moment, we are doing partnerships and collaborations.
I
And
like it.
so for me, yeah,
I
absolutely.
like
So
that.
for me, I choose based on the alignment of my company as a whole. So I have, integrity is super huge to me. Also, how you respond to other people is important because sometimes there will be brands that they will respond in a negative manner towards another company. And for me, that's just not, there's no room for that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And that's it, that's how you choose to run your business. That's how you choose to run your business. That's on you. But we just won't be working together. Because I just don't, I can't do that. There's
Right.
too much going on. I am involved with so many people in the industry. Like, I know so many people. So, for me, if I am watching you get on Instagram and you're blasting things about a cigar legend or about another company or whatever, it just, to
Hmm.
me, it's like, okay, so if you and I get into a tussle, what are you going to do for
What you
me?
gonna do to me? Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And we all get mad and upset and do things like that, but there's a certain level of professionalism and
Right.
decorum that you have to have, regardless of whether you deal with somebody or not. There are people in this world that I have completely cut off. Like, they don't even know if I'm still living or not because I'm so
Wow.
alienated from them on purpose, right?
Right.
But if I were to see them in person, I would not be ugly. And I don't go and say, "Oh, I hate this person because this person did XYZ to me." Like, that's not, I don't operate like that because you can easily, the tables can turn.
That's
And
true.
you have to make sure that as you are moving in this space, or say with me, make it personal. As I am moving in this space, I don't want to make enemies with people that I could potentially need. Or
Right.
I don't want people to make enemies with me, knowing that they potentially need me. You can't please everybody, right? Because the
Right.
world is just the world. But what I can do is I can have integrity. I can be kind to people, and I can uplift people as much as I can in whatever that space is. And so, knowing that those are the things that I, really focus on and hone in when I'm trying to work with a brand, what does your social media look like? How intentional are you about your content? Those things are important. If you don't have a footprint on social media, what are you doing as a business? Are you contributing to the community? Are
Right.
you doing, some kind of philanthropy? Are you collaborating with other creators? All of those things are important because you are somewhat of a reflection of the brand that you work with. Um,
Exactly.
and that's that's like, as anything that is said, like, for example, your parents, they'll say you're a reflection of me, so make sure
Yeah,
you act
I
right.
was just thinking that.
You know
Make
what I
sure you
mean?
represent me well.
Okay,
Represent me.
absolutely.
That's
Because the
why your
thing
parents
is,
advocate you because you got the lesson early in life. That's why it was easy to advocate for you. Because I tell you what, my parents used to tell me all the time, "Don't let me have to come down to that school."
my mama said, look, this is what she said. If I have to come to the school, I'm not coming for the teacher. I'm coming for you.
Hey,
Okay,
real talk.
and that's just what it is.
It sounds
So you better
like we
fly
need to raise
straight.
a toast to our mamas now,
Period.
because we
Mamas
in
and
this thing
daddies.
to mamas and daddies, man, bringing the
Yes.
noise. Cheers.
Yes, absolutely. But I will say, I will say what's funny is that as we speak about parents and my mom is not a cigar smoker, right? But she is such a super fan and an advocate for me, which I am so grateful for because she watches every episode. She tells me what she likes, what she doesn't like. She tells me about the outfit. She tells me, like, she's all in. Okay, she's in. She knows the families. Oh, okay, well, that company, don't they also make this cigar? Like, because she's
Right.
listening to me, right?
Hmm.
She is really genuinely listening to me. And even though she doesn't smoke cigars, if she meets someone who smokes cigars, or she's around somewhere where someone's smoking cigars, or she, whatever the case may be, she's like, oh, you smoke cigars, you should actually follow my daughter. She has a cigar
Yeah.
education show. Like, she is,
Yeah.
okay, like, on it. And so I love it because I get text messages every so often. Well, she'll run into somebody and she'll be like, oh, I gave so and so, because I'm from a small city. So of
Right.
course, like, if she sees somebody that I went to high school with or middle school or whatever, or she's in a place where she's around people that she knows, she'll say, oh, I saw so and so today, and they smoke cigars now. So I actually gave them your Instagram to you in your YouTube, and I was like, Mom, I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. You know what's funny? I'm going to tell you something that I was thinking about when you were talking about reputations. Your reputation is, I'm just going to describe it as impeccable. So, I do conversations with Chevalier. You watch him and you support, and we
Absolutely, of
support one
course.
another. And so I had a conversation a couple weeks ago. I had her aficionada on, and we were talking, and I asked Octavia, I said, so when you look at some of the women that you like, that you look at in the industry and you admire, she talked about Ben, of course, which I met Ben the same night I met you.
Oh,
And
you met all of
for
us at the same
yeah, I
time.
met all, yeah, because we all kicked it, and then we went to the Gatsby afterwards. But
Yeah.
I was hanging out with all the ladies and stuff, and I met Ben. But one of the things her aficionada said, she told me, she said, she says Mechelle was actually in Atlanta for a while, and then she decided to pivot because we were talking about how important it is to pivot, and she said, and then she went north and she found her groove and she just took off, and she seemed to admire you for that. And everybody
You.
that I've ever met that I mention you or say anything about you, because a lot of times when I'm telling the story about how nervous I would get, when I get ready to do these interviews, because people don't believe it, that I'm literally sick to my stomach an hour before
Oh
every
Lord.
time. and you seen it, so you know I'm
I
not
did.
lying.
I did.
You
We're
seen
gonna
it.
have to
You
get you some
seen it.
Alka Seltzer because you can't
Yeah,
be
you
having your stomach hurt every time you have
man,
an
Lord
interview.
have mercy. I don't know what that is, man. I'm 57. You think I would have like, got this thing together, but I don't. But one of the things I've noticed is that everybody that I talk to, when I say something about my homegirl Michelle, and they're like, man, she is like kicking doors down in the industry. Amazing young lady. And
Grateful.
that's really cool, because you're not as old as me. You're not even close. And so to at such a young age, and we're not gonna talk about your age, but at such a time in your life, a early time, a freshman part of life that you're in, to have the respect of the culture the way that you do, how does that feel to you?
I'm
To
I'm
know that,
so grateful. Like almost in tears over here. Like I can't like
I mean,
because I'm not
man,
even a
look,
crier. This is the thing. Is like I'm not really a crier. So for me, I'm so grateful just to have the opportunity to do what I do. Like literally, when I say, if it had not been for the Lord saying, "This is what you're doing," and it was for me, it was clear as day that
excuse me.
I literally went from, you know, my early stages of me smoking cigars and then um, kind of smoking there with my dad in 2018 and then moving on and moving to Atlanta and then being able to be in the cigar industry in Atlanta and then experience just so many different things and my palate was opened up tremendously because I actually met someone, a friend of mine at the time that gave me a humidor full of cigars. Like, here, try these
Wow.
cigars. And so, like, I literally, when I say only smoke flavored cigars for three months, I'm serious. Like, it was evident that I was going to be skyrocketing to a different
And
level.
you
Um,
did.
you're
And
right.
you
Okay.
did.
So from
Tatiana's
there,
weren't on the menu for
no, they
long.
were not. And actually, I've been smoking Tatiana Groovy Blues since I would say that the first 3 months of me smoking cigars, I haven't had another one. Um, I say, at some point, I want to at least try to see this. They have the 25th anniversary of Tatiana. Nestor actually came out with it. I want to say it was like earlier this year
Yeah.
at PCA.
Yeah, I
And
saw
so I
that.
said
Hmm.
I would actually try the 25th anniversary just because it's Nestor. I love Nestor. He's great. And so for me, I just was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll smoke it at some point, but I haven't quite got there yet. So to be determined.
Right on.
But anyway, needless to say, kind of being in Atlanta, also just being introduced to a lot of different things, but starting my journey with me focusing on the educational piece and learning all the
Right.
aspects about cigars that I could potentially learn. And then moving from Atlanta back to Alabama right before COVID and spending so much time in the cigar lounge there and reading and meeting all of these different people and all these different legends are coming through and just being able to create these relationships and cultivate this experience. And so now just knowing that I went from like this one girl who was smoking a cigar in a cigar lounge with her daddy to now we are, I can't even tell you where we are, right? Like it's so busy, like I can't even tell you. And I'm so grateful because I just know that for me in my life in my house as they say, right?
Hmm.
Um I serve the Lord and I listened to him when he said, this is what you're going to do. And,
Wow.
and so if I had not listened to him, I wouldn't be here.
That there's something else to that too that I get. There's a lot of people that look at people like us that
Mm-hmm.
are doing the cigar culture, and they look at us as sinners. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
interesting that you're resolute enough and bold enough to say that I serve the Lord,
Oh, yeah,
and the Lord
absolutely.
has put me on the course that I'm on, and I'm moving by
Let
faith,
me tell
and
you.
I'm moving with it. I'm moving based on the with the place that He
Mm-hmm.
put me. And I'm gonna do that until he says I need to do something else. Before you say something else, I wanna read
Period.
something.
Period.
Michelle, Candy Connection said Michelle was an intricate part of her cigar journey in Atlanta. She's amazing and passionate about the industry.
Thank
And so the reason I
you.
wanted to I pinned that comment because we were just talking about the reputation that you have amongst so many people. Candy Connections is one of those people that I quietly sit back and have been watching since I've been in the cigar culture. I haven't been in that long. I haven't been in as long as you, 2, 3 years now. And she's one of those people that I've sat back and watched and said, wow, the people that move quietly through the industry, but every time they do something, you know, it makes a statement,
Yeah.
to those that are really paying attention, that are here for the community as a whole, that want to be a part of not only just a particular type of culture, but they want to do things that resonate within the community to make the community as a whole grow. And she's one of those people that I look at. And then I'm looking at people like Cigars at Sunset that said they're happy to have you in their city. And like I said, it's got to feel pretty good
I'm
to
just
have
so
that type of respect and
grateful.
admiration.
Honestly,
Yeah.
like I'm so grateful, and I will kind of pivot to this point. A lot
Hmm.
of people will say, "Oh, you're sinning, you're smoking." But this is the thing. Let me be real deep with you for a
Hey,
second.
come on with it.
Um, I pray over my episodes that my episodes are able to touch someone and bring light to them, to their life. And I really take that very seriously, because when I am doing my episodes, it is not just, oh, I gotta do an episode. Oh, this is just such an issue. Like, no, it is not. I have done episodes right after I had just had surgery. I've done episodes I've been sick. I've done episodes I lost a relative. I have done episodes and being consistent every single Monday since July 5th of 2022.
Wow. Wow.
And the only reason the episode was released on a Tuesday instead of on a Monday is because I spent 6 hours trying to do the first episode. So for me, for me, it is knowing that I'm doing this because this is my purpose. And the Lord is using me in so many different ways to be able to touch people and bless people with things that I would have never even thought of.
Right.
There are times when I am in this cigar lounge and I actually have an opportunity to minister to somebody,
Wow.
to be able to talk about what the Lord has done in my life,
Right.
to be able to talk about how I joke and kid about me being on my third life, but literally I have been almost dead twice before
Wow.
now. And so for me, it is knowing that, yes, you might not like the fact that I smoke cigars, but little do you know, I don't smoke cigars every single day. I'm so busy that I don't have time to smoke cigars every single day.
Wow.
But
Yeah, I believe
I
that.
I
The
make
little
it a
bit that I
point
do, I get it. I get it.
to say it. And so
Hmm.
for me, it is me also understanding that everybody isn't gonna get it, right? But this is the other part about it. They'll say you're crazy until it works.
That's
And
true.
so this works,
That's true.
because when I started, it was not, oh, it's this young African American girl that is doing episodes on cigars. Like, what does she know? Literally,
Yeah.
there were people that made comments like that.
Well, I get them all the
And
time. I
yeah,
get people that they don't take me seriously, and
mm-mm,
and I'm not doing anything. Look, I share thoughts of a classic man every morning. The things that I'm thinking about at 4, 5, 6 a.m. I just jot it down and write it.
mm-hmm,
I write them every day. But there are people that feel like there's no place for what we do
mm-hmm,
within the industry. Maybe it's I don't even want to say it's old world thinking, because the old world guys, the OGs, are the ones that are reaching down and supporting
yes,
people like me and you.
like Carlito, I like
Yeah.
Lito Gomez,
Yeah.
like Hamlet and Kellner and Hochi, and like all these people who are literally looking at us like, what do you do?
Yeah.
My experience with Lito Gomez, it almost brought me to tears. I was in Dominican
Really.
Republic,
Uh-huh.
and he just stepped over to the side with me, and we were walking for a minute, like, as you know, as we were along the tour, and he was just like, I really appreciate what you do. And I
Wow.
just you could have
Because you
thought
can't believe that these people are really watching. That's the thing.
you could have thought I had died and came back to life. You hear me? Like, I was in my head, I'm thinking, Lito Gomez. Like, this is the Lito Gomez. I'm walking and talking with him in his fields. And he is telling me that he appreciates what I do. Wow. And Carlito,
Yeah.
same thing. I mean, literally, every time he sees me, he squeezes my face and he just like, Mechelle. And it's a whole thing. And
Yeah.
I am
I go
so
through it.
grateful.
Yeah.
So grateful.
Yeah. He is
You.
an amazing guy, man. And I don't know with him, with all that he does at the age that he is and the family, because he's a lot of people don't realize he's like this devout
Oh,
family
yeah.
man. So with all that he does and what he is to the cigar community and his family, and I think those are his two main things. That they're
Mm-hmm.
one and the same. But man, he pours into me in ways that I just
Same.
there's been a couple of times he had me on the Professor show, Mechelle.
Yeah,
Him and
I
Jose
saw.
and they man, look, he almost brought like they're always messing with me about me crying, but he the way he talked to me, he brought me to tears, and then he looked at me on the show and said, "I got you like you got me when I came on your show and you started talking about my grandfather and my father." And I
Yeah.
didn't think about those memories, and I started crying. I got you back. And I was like, really, Carlito? That's how you go? I'm sitting there with tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
But to have the respect of those people at the level that we're on and what we're trying to do, that's one of the reasons why I want to talk to you, because I don't get to share. You know, there's very few people that have that in common with me about my experiences in the cigar culture
Mhm.
quietly, because I try not to talk about it
Same.
a lot.
Because
Yeah,
it's also nobody's business.
yeah, and it's
Period.
really something to have these guys, really pouring into us and saying, hey, keep doing what you're doing because we love what you're doing, and then
Right.
have our peers, per se, to not do it.
And
So
it's
it
so
for me it
easy.
can be really hurtful when people sit back and say that I'm not being genuine, or they feel like I don't think anybody said I'm clout chasing. They ain't said it to my face. I don't think I am, but you know, uh,
People gonna say what they're
they
gonna say.
yeah, they gonna do what they gonna do. Let me ask
Hmm.
you something, cause man, I'll be talking to you all night. The one thing I want to ask you, what are your thoughts, Mechelle, about cigar community versus cigar culture? When you think about the two terms, what do those terms mean to you?
So I would say with the culture, our cigar culture, to me, is
Hmm.
built on a couple of different pillars. Um, I would say for the love of cigars, for sure, community, and then history, like family history. Those three things are very, very evident within the cigar industry and define what we would consider to be our culture. Um, and I love the fact that in our culture, we have little things like when you meet someone who is a new cigar smoker and you are sitting there and talking to them, everybody in the circle feels the need to say, hey, this is what I do and I really like doing this and maybe you
Right,
want to try
right,
that, or, hey, I see you cutting this cigar and that's great, but like, hey, maybe if you lighten up just a little bit, this will work out better for you. Everybody is given some kind of little tips. And then
right,
don't let it be that the person is a really cool person. Everybody's given cigars because that's just our unwritten rule. If we
right,
like you, we're going to give you a cigar. That's just
right.
what it is.
That's right.
And so that's, whether you're a beginner or you're a seasoned smoker, it is knowing that it is definitely going to be a place of we are going to take care of you. That's just really what it is. And then as far as community is concerned, I think we have a different communities. So we definitely have a pipe smoker community. We have cigar community on, as a huge family.
Hmm.
And then we have, the boutique community.
Right.
They're their um, own, own kind of family, but they're still included in ours. There's no like separation. It is just knowing that there's kind of these little groups of people that kind of rock together, which is cool. And I like the fact too that even with us having different groups within the industry, it doesn't mean that you're excluded.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
and so it's not a pretentious type of thing. Now, will make sure I say there
Yeah.
are
Come
some
on.
pretentious people,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
there's not very many. Let's just say that.
I will
There's a
say
few.
that.
There's a few, and but
Yeah, I do know.
but
We ain't gonna
we
call them out, but I do
no,
know a few of them.
because again, at the same time, we want to also make sure that we are being examples and inviting
Right.
people into the industry as we
Exactly.
can, because even if there are some pretentious people, that's okay. Let them be pretentious over there.
Right.
But over here, we show love and we invite people in, no matter what color they are, or what they wear, or what their job occupation is, or what kind of cigars they like. We don't discriminate, and we want people to be in this community, because one thing about cigars is that this is a level playing field for everybody.
That's true.
And I absolutely love that, because it doesn't matter
Hmm.
where I go to smoke cigars. I could be in Toronto, I could be in Europe, I can be in the Bahamas, I could be anywhere. And because I smoke a cigar, I'm automatically in. That's it. Like
Yeah.
there's no other like, oh, you're African American, or like, oh, you're taller than me. Oh, you can't be in.
I know
Because
you get
one thing
that
about
one.
it is I'm gonna be tall regardless. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
be
know you get
standing
that
10
one.
toes down,
Hmm.
being 6'4" plus.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
But hey,
but
look, you wear the tall thing well. And let me I'm gonna speak on it. I'm gonna speak on it. So I remember when we first met each other and I walked up to you and you were just a hair, because you're not much taller than me.
I
I
had
didn't
on
have to
6 inch
look
heels when I
up at
met
you.
you. I did. I had on six
Did
inch
you?
heels when I met you. I
I was
did.
Man, I was too busy fanboying. I didn't see all of that. But one of the things that what really caught me about you, outside of the fact you had a cameraman walking behind you, um,
Shout
is how
out to
gracious
my
you
team, by
were.
the way.
Hey,
Shout out
cause
to my
hey,
team.
he is amazing.
John
He is amazing.
Sands
He
and
is
Reginald
amazing,
Smith.
dude.
Shout out to my
Mhm.
team. Let me tell you, I am so much better with my photographer and cinematographer. They get me together always, so I'm grateful for
Hey,
them.
so I met the cinematographer, right?
No,
The
you met my photographer.
That was the
John
photographer.
Sands.
Okay. I had a couple times that I was just chatting with him. He wasn't
I
behind you and we were
He's
chatting.
the best chatter
Man,
because
he
he's great. He's
is
so knowledgeable and
cool.
so
Yeah,
wise.
he is. And I was kind of like, I spent some time just watching him when we were at the Crown Heads party that night where I met
Uh-huh.
you. Well, the night before we were at the Crown Heads party, and I met him. I saw him, and I was just watching how he's always looking for the opportunity to find the right shot. So he wasn't necessarily just like walking behind you. He
Hmm.
was just like, I would see him break off, and I was kind of standing back in the corner. I was just watching him, and next thing you know, he's shooting something from way across the room. And I thought that was so cool how he did that. And he has this natural thing I saw. I recognized in
He's
him that he's
amazing.
not waiting on you to
Nope.
tell him for the
Nope.
shot. He knows what shots are best for you,
Hmm.
and he goes and does it. And you may not even see him step away and come back when
Right.
he does that. I noticed
Exactly.
that about him, dude. That
Yes.
dude he is ice cold with that. And
He
I
is.
love that. I said, one of these days when I grow up, I'm gonna have somebody follow me around. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
gonna use the selfie stick. I'm gonna use the selfie stick.
But this is the thing. You will get there. And when you do get there, it will be you'll have your photographer, you'll have somebody doing your content, you'll have your team, because you are not going anywhere. Let's just say that. Period. Okay. You're gonna be here for a
Yeah,
while. Even though you've
I
only
say
been here
that I
for
hope
2 or 3
so.
years, you're gonna be here, and you're gonna have a team, and people are going to want to have to, oh, well, can I speak to him?
Nah, I can't
Uh,
imagine. I
no,
can't imagine
it's gonna
anybody doing me
happen.
like that.
It's gonna
I can't.
happen.
I
It's
can't
going to
even
happen.
imagine that.
And then when it happens, you're gonna tell me, Mechelle, you know, you were right.
Sort of like I did at PCA, because I found myself wanting to come back to you and say, okay, I'm good. I'm good. But man,
Yeah,
they had you
I was there
all
for
over the
you.
place.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I had an interview, I had a magazine, I
I
had another
saw that.
interview. There was all kinds of stuff going on. It was a lot going on. PCA is very busy for me,
It
and I'm
is.
grateful. And
It's
I also,
intimidating.
well, but it's also too like I'm so grateful that PCA allowed me to be a moderator for the panel discussion. And also, I released my digital content
I
planner for cigar and tobacco
saw that.
retailers. Thank you. And so it was really nice to be able to have the trust, is because it's I'm on a big stage. I'm the person that's moderating. I had to come up with the questions. I had to make sure that everybody was comfortable. I was the person that was kind of keeping everything glued together, and it
Oh,
was
wait a minute.
such
Wait
a
a minute, Michelle. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Go back. How did that happen?
so
How did that
so I
happen?
so I got a call,
Uh-huh.
and PCA asked me to be the moderator for their panel discussion that was on social media.
Hmm.
And so I gratefully accepted, absolutely. And so from there it was okay, like this is yours, this is your project. And so
Wow.
that was it, and so I was able to really kind of come together about what was needed, and I was working with some of the team to be able to figure out what would work as far as our timing and okay, these questions, or how did these questions sound? I also was able to tap into talking to some of my people that I admire within the
Hmm.
industry and that are always called on to do some kind of moderation in the cigar industry or outside
Wow.
of the cigar industry. And so being able to just, hey, I really need to talk to you. And, this person is halfway across the world in Austria. And
Wow.
so, being able to get on a call like super early in the morning because obviously it's afternoon over there,
Right.
and go through the questions, and he's asking thought-provoking questions and saying, okay, well, you're going to do this, but what about this question? And how can you tie the, like, going through this whole thing. And one thing I will say is shout out to Reinhard. If you do not know who Reinhard is,
Man,
you
that is
must
my
know who.
guy. That's
I
my
absolutely
guy,
love that
man.
man. Okay, you hear
Man,
me?
he
He
is
is
amazing.
amazing. When I say, so you said you fanboyed, right?
Yeah.
When I was at PCA 2023, I was fangirling. Okay, I was fangirling. Like it was over. Okay, I have been following like all the things that Reinhardt has been doing for a long time, right? And I just was so fascinated just with everything because he's not like a lot of people don't know. Like Reinhardt's the vice president of Merkerson, but
Right.
before that, he was like he's got all these awards for being like the best podcast and the bartender of the year and the sommelier and this and like he's got all
Yeah.
these like real awards
He is
and
he,
not just
he
real
is gracious
awards.
too.
Oh, he's
Yeah. He's
so
so
gracious.
gracious, man.
and
Just
and
so
so for
accommodating.
yes, and so for me, my first experience was I took the time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna finally reach out. Okay. So I reached out to him about me getting my show listed on Light 'em Up and Go. And if you're
I
familiar with Light
watch
'em Up
it.
and Go, it is
I
it is
watch it.
yes,
I
I try to
watch
join
it.
as when I can,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so he has Light 'em Up and Go's website, and so it's on the website. It tells the different events and
Right.
podcasts, and also like cigar lounges and all kinds of things on that particular website. And so, in
Hmm.
order for you to get on the website, like
Yeah.
you have to be somebody. Like you
Right.
can't.
Yeah.
I mean, Reinhardt is nice, but you have to be somebody.
Yeah.
And so he literally messages me, send me an email back. And he's like, absolutely, of course you could be on here. And so I sent him my info for him to post it on the website. And then literally like in 2 days, it was on the website. And I'm
Yeah,
like, this is, first of
he's
all,
cool.
this is an
Reinhardt
international
Port.
website.
Yeah.
And these people don't even know me. Okay. I've never met this man a day in my life. And all of a sudden, he follows me on Instagram. Now, mind you, he's been seeing my stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when I meet him in person for the first time, he had told me that he had been seeing my stuff. So he then allows me to be on the app, okay? And I was just blown, okay? And then we have
Wow.
PCA, and I actually meet him, and I was just like, I was sitting there. And I was thinking to myself, like, this can't be real. Like, this just really can't just be real. This can't be real. Like, the fact that he even knows who I am, like, I'm such a micro mini person at this point. Like, I'm micro compared to Reinhardt. Like,
Yeah, Reinhardt is
no,
top
he's
of
like
there's
way up
nowhere
there.
else to go after Reinhardt.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing else. And so for him to just, I mean, we talked for a whole hour. In the middle of a party, a whole event.
Wow.
We literally sat to the side for an hour.
Wow.
We were talking. It was a moment, okay? Like it was a serious moment. And he was just like, I just love what you do. Like I really, really love what you do. And I was so glad to meet you. And I'm like thinking to myself, you don't understand.
See, but he messages me. I was just messaging with him, let's see, last Wednesday, Thursday, we were messaging back and forth. And I forgot, when you want to watch the show, they gotta send you the invite link. And so I used to watch it all the time. Yeah. And so I hit the thing and told him, he sent me a message, hey, hit the thing and put it in there so I can send it to you. But by the time I got it, the show was already over and stuff. And so he told me, I got you set up for next time. Don't worry about it. But every now and then I'll post something, even on some of the thoughts of a classic man. If it resonates, he'll like comment, he'll like hit me in the inbox and stuff like that. And I didn't realize how big of a deal he was.
Yeah.
Like I was like, who's this guy? And then I started looking at Light 'em Up, right? And then one day Jeremiah had hit me up on WhatsApp. And so I was going back because
Jeremiah's
I met
huge shoe now.
Yeah.
Oh,
he called me. Yeah, he called me up on WhatsApp one day. Early one morning he called me and we were talking about the professor show. And he had been under the weather. So the first time I was supposed to go on, we had to push it back. And so they had to make all these special accommodations because he had been under the weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to talking on WhatsApp and we're chatting on the phone, and he's like, man, he mentions Reinhardt. Like he mentions it. And I was like, I know this guy because I didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
this was last year. I didn't know who he was. And when I started looking him up, and then I realized I would see his name on my post. He is the man, dude.
I mean,
he is the man.
After award after award after, like, literally, when I grow up, I want to be just like Reinhardt. Like,
yeah, he's a bad dude, man.
Amazing.
I can't wait till the next show, but I guess I need to hit him up and say, how can I get conversations with you?
Yes, like honestly,
I'm gonna do it.
I think it would be great, and you should reach out to him because he definitely would love to do it. One of my dreams on my own is to be a guest on his show one day. Like that's like dream.
Yeah.
Okay, like literally, if I had a dream in the cigar industry, that would be the dream.
That's one of them. The Professor show was one of mine, and when he came,
that show too, for sure.
I was completely taken aback when they called me and said, "Hey, need you to do this on such and such a day," and I was like, "What?" Carlito's like, "No, you got to do it." And then Jose, who pretty much runs the show, he's the man that runs the show, and when he hit me up and was like, "Yeah, okay, this is what we're doing," and we're gonna do it this day, and man, I can't wait to get you on here. We got a lot to talk
Yeah,
about, and we did it. Michelle, I was so excited, man. And
you
I,
were.
I can I can identify with you and how you feel, because I'm starting to experience over this last year, I've experienced a lot of the same things. You were one of the ones that got me probably the most in meeting you, but then just hanging out with those guys and getting an opportunity to just be in close proximity with them. And it's like I've been a part of the OG crew for, they make me feel like I've been around them for 20 years or something,
Yes,
and I'm still trying not to get sick to my stomach when I walk in the room with them.
right. Because the
It's
thing
a
is,
that's a
like,
hell of a
too,
feeling.
when you add Jeremiah, like, let's just talk about Jeremiah for a second. Like, Jeremiah is like fifth generation,
Generation, yeah,
fourth generation, tobacco grower. Like, his family single-handedly saved Cameroon tobacco. Like, let's just talk
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
We would
yeah,
not have Cameroon tobacco if it was not for the Marifels. Period. And there's some other tobaccos that they have imported and exported for us to be able to have in the United States, for us to be able to have in
hmm
the Dominican Republic, and all these other places. But like Jeremiah, Melissa, like all of them come from a lineage of tobacco growers and I mean, I'm just like, when I met Jeremiah for the first time, he's like, Mechelle. And I just was like,
yeah.
he
'Cause it's the
literally knows
same
who I
feeling.
am.
Yeah, because they don't even call me Chevalier, which is my middle name. He walks up to me and said, "Yule." And he always gives you that
Yes,
finger,
he always
the two
points you
fingers when
out.
he gives you the fingers. Yule. I'm like, what? We met for the first time in person at PCA this year.
Same,
And so,
same.
I
And I
talked to
talked
him,
to
but
him and stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
but I never met him. And then, he's like, he grabs my phone out of my pocket, right? He saw me put my phone in my pocket because he's like you. He's got a crew with him all the time. And so he whips,
That's the
he says, pull
ultimate
your phone.
crew.
Man, he got the ultimate crew. He
Because
got
Reinhardt
Luke.
is in his crew. So the fact that he's got his
Yeah,
two big folks in the crew together is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And he pulls out my phone and he gives it to this guy, right? And he tells him, I want you to take pictures here. He's giving direction. Like,
Hmm.
he always on
He's
business.
very specific and
Yeah, he's
serious.
very,
He does
very
not
specific.
play. He
Yeah, and
laughs
he's
a
like,
little
I
bit,
want you
a
to take
little.
pictures at this angle. I want you to take pictures at this angle. Then I want you to use his phone at the same angle and then give me the phone. And so he goes in my phone. He opens it up. I'm like, I don't have no bullshit in there, so I should be good. And so he goes in there and he starts editing pictures. Now, I'm known for editing pictures when I take them, right? But he's editing pictures with shit. He's going through there, bam, 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 bam. Like, he knocking them out. Like, he had them take like 10 or 15 pictures. He edits each picture, and then he said, which one you posted? And then he goes back through there, let's post this one. And then he says, fingers aren't right. Take it again. And then, so he made him take the pictures until the finger is right. Then he looks at me and says, I want you to smile and I want you to point as well. I'm
Yes,
like, I can't do the fingers like you do the
right.
fingers. Like,
Because
you do
he
your.
got a specific way.
He's got
When
a
we took
specific
our picture,
way with the fingers, with
yes,
the thumb and all of that.
yes. When we
And
took
I
our
was blown
picture,
away by that, man.
it was the whole thing. It was the whole thing. But yes, it is. Let me tell you, just being in the space with just the
Yeah,
legends, like knowing, and then like once you get a chance to go to Pro Cigar, it'll become even more real for you. Being able to walk and talk with them in their fields and at their factory, and
I want to do
you're at
that.
these different events, and I'm having a good time with Nestor and Manuel and Hochi and like all these people, and it's
I want to
like
do it. I
I'm
want
like,
to do it.
I'm thinking to myself, like, this is like cigar royalty. Like, literally,
And see,
like this
just
is
I'm still a cigar puppy. See, you're a full grown, you
no,
know,
no, no. I'm not full
you're
grown. I'm
full
probably
grown.
like,
I'm a cigar puppy, man. I'm still a cigar infant. You're full grown in what you're doing. Let me ask you something, because man, me and you'll be out here all night. I got another question for
we're
you.
on your time, by the way. So if you
I,
need to talk,
bruh,
talk.
look,
Okay.
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. So, as a woman in the cigar industry, how do you feel about today's women? And let me clarify with that.
Please.
Women have always been the foundation of the cigar industry.
Correct.
Let's just,
Yes,
I'm big on the issues of women in the cigar industry,
absolutely.
and women have always been the foundation, hands down from its inception. As far as
Mm-hmm.
I know, back what I've read, women have always been, at the foundation of the cigar industry.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel today's women help the cigar community to grow? In what and how women could contribute to the cigar community today? How do you feel about how women are doing that today? Do you think it's going in the right direction? Do you feel it's going in the wrong direction? What's your thoughts as a woman in the culture?
So I would say for me, let's just start with the beginning. Let's just, of course, give homage to all the women that came before me,
Hmm.
all the women that are in the industry currently. Um, we are very important, and not just in the cigar industry, but in life, period.
Right,
Because that's how you got here from a woman.
right,
So, very, very grateful to be in that elite group, as they say. And knowing that I am a woman in the cigar industry, that's another elite group because we are a very, very small piece of the industry. And I say small not to diminish any size of what we are, but also just realizing that this is typically a male dominated industry. Um, and that is okay because we have made a place for ourselves, even when there are certain people that did not want us to be there.
right,
Um, and so understanding that I come from a lineage of women who came before me in the cigar industry to pave the way for me to be able to do what I'm doing. It is a privilege to be here. And I think as we are moving forward into the industry being so much more, right? Because we're getting to now about to start the fifth generation of tobacco manufacturers, tobacco growers. And so that's where we are, right? And seeing that there are some of the daughters of some of the legends or granddaughters or nieces of some of these really big legends that are in the industry and helping cultivate what it looks like for us in 2024 in the next 20 years. I think we're doing great. I think we can always do better because in life you can always do better with everything that you do.
right.
But I think that we are moving in a good space. There are lots of opportunity for us to continue to build each other up. Um, I am not really one of those people who are, oh, well, so and so is doing this, but she doesn't do it right or whatever. Like I stay in my lane.
Right.
I run my own race. It's just me and Jesus. That's it. We run
Right
the
on.
race together. That's it,
I like
And so
it.
it is just knowing that it is not my place to speak on how someone else does what they do. Um,
Love it.
that's just not me. Because whether you do what you do or not, or whatever you do is what you do, but what I do is what I do, right? And
Right,
I can only
right.
do
I
it the way
like
that
that.
I do it. And I'm grateful for that because I'm unique, I'm precious, and I understand my purpose and my place. And so because I understand my purpose and my place, even if somebody were to come and do exactly what I'm doing, that's great. I'm happy that you're doing it because at some point I'm going to die and I'm going to go
Yeah.
be with the Lord. Okay. So
Right.
I want you to be able to do what I'm doing and hopefully do it better so that you can have more opportunity than I did. Because this is not competition. Like I'm going to be Mechelle and I'm going to do the
Right.
things that Mechelle does. And you're
Hmm.
going to do the things that you do and you're going to do the things that you do well. And that's just what it is. Two things can be the same. We can be in the same space at the
That's
same
true.
place.
That's
It's totally
true.
fine. There's enough money in the world. There's enough brands in the world. There's enough cigar companies in the world for there to be multiple people that do the same thing. And I welcome it because the thing is, it does nothing but help enhance and open more doors for women to be able to do the things that they're doing,
Right.
for other
Right.
people to be able to do the things that they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think sometimes in the cigar industry, I have seen this even with some of the cigar companies. They will
Hmm.
take each other's ideas,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
this is the thing. It's a difference between taking someone's idea and using it as inspiration.
Yep.
There's two different things.
I agree.
Um, and we know that there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Everything is in a cycle, in some sort of
Right.
cycle. It may be slightly different, but everything is in the same cycle, right? And so,
Right.
because we know that, we should be more apt to help the next generation do what we're doing, but do it better.
That's exactly.
Like,
I agree.
there's room, there's innovation that's happening, and knowing that I am operating in this space, but somebody else who has more technology and more time and more connections can do even better than what I'm doing.
Right.
Does
Right.
that mean that I'm going to stop doing cigars with him? Absolutely not. But it means that if the person that is over here that's starting up wants some help, I'm gonna be like, yeah, girl, come on, let's go.
That's what
Because
I'm talking
this is
about.
the two of us, right? We're operating in this same space. Two things can be the same.
That's what I talk about Chevalier unity. If you notice, I try to support everybody and what they have going. And I can't, my platform is okay, but I
Come
try
on.
to
Well, we not
support
hold on 1 second. I
what.
love you too much to let you talk down on yourself. I'm gonna need you to restate that statement
Okay,
again and say it with
so
some more
my
boldness.
my platform
Is
is
good. Okay.
notable. I'll say it's
Yeah.
notable.
You making
It's
moves.
notable.
Okay.
So I'm making my move. So I
Let's
try
talk
to
about it.
share. Yeah, yeah, I try to share in my stories, different things that I see people are having events, even if they're not in Dallas. I try to share them. Chevalier Unity. Grab one, support one, keep it going, keep it going. This is how we grow the cigar community as a whole when we're all working together. When we become fragmented, I believe that we hurt the community as a whole. And so when you look at that, when you think about what I just said, you're somewhat of, you may not agree with what I'm about to say, but you're somewhat of a industry titan in your niche.
I'm grateful.
So where my question is to you in saying that, and I say because I believe it, but where my question for you is when you see a young lady that's coming into the industry, and there are some amazing young women that are doing things, and I'm gonna call out a couple of their names, but I'm gonna ask the question first. When you see these young women, they're coming into the cigar community and they're reaching out to you for advice. What do you tell them? What is something that you would tell every woman across the board that comes to Mechelle and says, "Hey, Shell," because women I always give you a nickname.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Shell. Hey, girl. Hey, Shell. What do you think I should do? This is where I want to go. How do you advise them when they come to you?
So I would say let's just start with the reality. So right now, I have not had someone who is younger than me say, or even just new in the industry, say to me and ask me for advice yet. I know that it's coming because again, we're in a cycle, right?
Right,
And
right.
I'm waiting for that moment. People have come to me for other things, social media wise, but like just being able to have the conversation about the cigar industry as a whole. Um, I am so grateful for that moment that's coming, right? I'm prepared for it because the first thing now that I'm going to say is you deserve to be here, just like I told you, because
Yes, she
I didn't
did.
say that by accident, and I'm not saying that, oh, just like because it sounds great.
Hmm.
No, we don't have time for that. We're intentional, and
Right,
so you deserve to be here, and you need to figure out what works for you. Don't even put your blinders on. Like, put your blinders on. Because this is the thing. You're running your race with yourself. That's
right,
it. Put your blinders on. Because the thing is, what people don't realize is that in the cigar industry, everybody is trying to do the same thing. We all are worried about cigars.
Right.
Same thing. We're all worried about cigars in some way, form, or fashion, whether you're interviewing or podcasting, you're a manufacturer or a grower, whatever you're doing, we're all worried about cigars. That's it. So because we're all worried about cigars, this is the time for you to decide what part of the cigar industry do you want to be a part of. Do you want to create your own
Right.
lane? Do you want to stay in a lane where you feel like, okay, I know that I can talk to people really well, so maybe I want to be an interviewer, or maybe I want to be a podcaster. Like, you figure out what that niche is. For me, it was me creating something that I haven't seen done. I'm not saying, keywords, I said I haven't seen done. Not that it
Yeah, I
hasn't been
got you.
done, right? Because I can only go back as far as Google will let me, right?
Right.
And so with me doing my research on what it is that I'm doing right now, I have not seen a African American woman do what I'm doing. But that doesn't
I
mean
don't think
that
you're the
there's
only one.
nobody has ever done it. It doesn't mean that nobody else has ever done it. I would not say I'm the first. Like, it would be great to say that I'm the first, but I'm really not sure. So I wouldn't say that.
Right.
But I will say that I am the industry's educator, because that's what I do. That's my whole company. Like, I literally have a cigar education company that we are registered that way.
Wow.
On purpose, because that is what our business is. I am a cigar educator, whether it's in a pairing setting, or it is on social media, or it is in a setting of personal classes where you and I are on a Zoom call and I'm teaching you about cigar education.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is my company. And so that's what we do, period. But it is me knowing that I would absolutely tell the younger version of whoever, right? Like, you deserve to be here. Find what it is that you want to do and do it well. Reach out to people. Do not be afraid to send messages to people. If people look at your message and never respond, they'll wish that they would have.
Right. Right.
Because there are people that I literally reached out to who never responded to me. Never
Wow.
responded to me. Or there are people, like, I will tell you, I literally went to so let's talk about this. So I was
Okay.
at PCA 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and there were several companies who I won't disclose that did not get up when I came by their booth. They
Wow.
refused to get up and speak to me.
But
And
now,
when I say refuse, I mean literally, like, I walked up to the booth, I'm looking at the cigars, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do a post on this particular company, and looked at me looking at them and did not get up. Did not come to me and say, hi, if you have any questions, like, please feel free to ask us, we're happy to assist. Nothing.
nothing.
Not a
Let
thing.
me ask you something about that, though, Michelle. Let me ask you something about that. But 2024, you went back in a different capacity, because now you've got PCA that's saying, hey, she's going to be hosting some stuff. PCA is giving you the autonomy to put to be a moderator for the panel that they have, and they promoted it. I mean, they promoted it. That was one of the highlights of PCA. I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
saw it, and I left early and came back to Dallas, but I saw it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, did that change after that? Did you see a difference with some of those same companies in 2024 versus 2023?
I did. But I will also say this. God knows exactly what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. That
Because
part.
let's just, before they even asked me to moderate, I was in a magazine 3 times.
I know. I
Three
was going
times.
there. I was
And
going there.
so, and the only reason why I'm mentioning it is because, for one, we just didn't talk about how good God is. Period.
Mm-hmm.
There's always room for me to talk about it. And I was in the magazine one time for the fall fundraiser recap. I was in the magazine 3 times. I had an article that was on my business. I had an
Right.
article that I wrote
Wrote.
about social media.
which was a
And then
great
I was in
article.
thank you. And then I had a picture of me being in the magazine as a fall fundraiser recap. Like,
Wow.
and then we go to PCA and they say, oh, we want you to moderate our social media conversation because you're the industry's educator. And I'm like, if there ain't a God, I don't know who is.
But you know what though? What you're right about that. God is always good. One of the things though, you're not just even doing those things. You're doing a lot more stuff behind the scenes with PCA. Because I just saw a post with you and a whole group of women that I follow that I know who they are. You all standing, I think y'all were standing in front of Capitol Hill. Is that where y'all were standing?
Mhm.
What
Yes, with
what
women in
was going
PCA.
on there? Yeah.
So
What,
I was first of all, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful about the whole journey. I'm just, oh, that's my word. Like it is, because I was selected to be a part of the leadership team of Women of PCA, and they selected a very small handful of us to be a part of leadership. And then we have a general body, which is all of the women that you saw in the event that we had
right.
at Capitol Hill, and it was so amazing. Like it was amazing. It I had the time. I had the time. We were able to do a summit, and so we had
Exactly.
lunch, and then we did a tour of the Capitol, and then after the Capitol we had a panel discussion, and then after the panel discussion we had an evening reception, and we had all of this flowing, and it is growing. Essentially, like, I will say that what I love is that we are not in a rush. We are not in competition. We are not in a rush. We are operating in creating safe spaces for women to have an opportunity to be mentored, to have an opportunity to get encouraging words, to ask the questions that they want to ask about maybe what's a good POS system for a retail store. What are some good accessory companies that you use to get your branded items? Like,
Right.
being able to be in a space where you can feel comfortable to ask the questions that you would normally have to ask a rep or call somebody who you just hope and pray that they have an answer for you.
Right.
Um, so I am so grateful to be on the leadership team of Women in PCA. I sit on the membership committee, and I have the opportunity to work with Amanda McCullough. I'm sorry, McCullough, and I'm sure you've heard of McCullough Cigars.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
love
I know
them.
who Amanda
Amazing.
is.
Yeah, love
Hmm.
Amanda. And Bianca, who is the director of marketing for Gerber Cigars. And so we are a power team. And then we're even more power when all of us get together, both the events committee and the membership committee. And it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be on such a wonderful organization. Women's Resource Group is great. I mean, PCA is, they're our government, and so being able to
Right.
have an opportunity to sit on a committee, like, you actually care about what I think. Like, I am
Yeah.
so grateful.
Yeah. I love it. I saw it. And after I met you, and I had already, like I said, I've been fanboying. But I had already saw some of the things that you've been doing and uh, some of the organizations or some of the groups that you were kind of moving with quietly through the community because a lot of it's been really quiet.
Oh
But
yeah, absolutely.
a lot of it though are the things that are going on that I'm always talking about, even when I'm on the lounge with Ray on Wednesday nights and we're talking about different things about the cigar community. I'm always talking about PCA and CRA. And
Hmm.
so I realize how they are one and the same in a sense because they work closely together with industry leaders to, fight for our rights to enjoy
Yeah, the cigar
cigars,
caucus. If
when you
we didn't
look
have
at
the
it.
cigar caucus, we
Hmm.
wouldn't be able to. I mean, we have a lobbyist, Patrick, which is an
Right.
amazing guy. He
Hmm.
is our feet in Capitol Hill, and And then we also have, CRA has their lobbyists and PCA has their lobbyists, and then you have our government team. Like they really, they know their stuff, and they're working so
I had a chance
hard.
to
Josh
I
and
got to see it.
Glenn, and
Yeah, yeah.
they work so hard.
I didn't realize. So when I first started doing this, before I started Conversations with Chevalier, Melanie Cisco and Carlito Fuente had a show on Facebook called The Last Draw
Okay.
with Melanie Cisco.
Hmm.
And I was the co-host on that for about 8 months. And I had an opportunity because I knew nothing about the PCA
Hmm.
at first. All I knew was, I got my buddies like Cigar Rockstar who lives close by, and we would talk, and he was like, "Man, you got to go to PCA. You got to go to PCA. You got to go." And
Hmm.
I'd be like, "I'm gonna go," because I thought it was like another cigar week.
Mm-mm.
I didn't realize it. And so one night, my second show with Carlito and Melanie, I got to interview Scott Pearson and Glenn Luke.
Yeah. And
And
Scott,
so,
Scott and Glenn,
man,
yeah.
and so I didn't even realize who I was talking to. And
Hmm.
so I kind of took over the interview because I'm like this kid in a candy store, right?
Like I want to
Trying to
know
pick for my
everything.
favorite chocolates.
Yeah.
And so I'm asking Scott, all these questions, and Glenn's like, let me take that one. And I'm talking to these guys. And this is when I realized about the importance of PCA and CRA as it relates to our rights in the cigar culture.
And they also
And so I'll
work with
ask
the European Cigar Association as well,
exactly,
which is
exactly,
very pivotal with us being able to have that connection with Europe, and
right,
the importing and exporting, and like all of these different pieces of the puzzle. They all have their own lanes that they operate, but they all come together in
right,
some
right.
capacity.
One of the things that got me though, because after I did that show that night,
Hmm.
um, I started asking people, that I was familiar with, in the cigar industry, what do you know about what the PCA does and what, uh, these individuals do within the PCA and
Hmm.
why we have it. It's not just about the trade show itself, but there's so much more that's going on behind the scenes. There's so much networking. And most people, I'd say out of 10 people, only maybe two could even answer my question.
Hmm.
And so after PCA in 2023, we did another show, a recap show
Hmm.
with Scott, with just Scott. And I started asking him questions, and I asked him a question. I wasn't trying to put him on the spot, but I just didn't know. And I had to ask. I said, so when you think about the black culture,
Hmm.
and I had to
Yeah,
ask the question. I said, when you,
yeah. I mean, you
hey,
have
I asked Scott, I said, when
to.
you look at the black culture, what is the PCA doing to be more inclusive of the black culture, to bring the black community in, you know, at the level that the PCA is working. And he said something really interesting to me that no one even mentioned that I know that happens because he told me. He said, we do something with the Congressional Black Caucus every year. We
Yeah,
do
they do.
education. We have a major event with them
Hmm.
every year. And
Year
I was like,
after
really? And he
year.
broke it down and explained it to me. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And that's what fueled my desire to actually go to PCA. I called Carlito up and I was like, say, man, I want to come to PCA. What you think? He said, okay, well, you're a part of the Fuente family, so you'll be at PCA.
Hmm.
You just give me your travel arrangements and I got you. And I learned so much. I learned so much during that time and doing those interviews for the last draw with him and Melanie. I learned so much that I didn't know. I realized that I've been walking around with blinders on about the cigar community.
Hmm.
There's so much more than just smoking cigars. There's a
It is.
whole there's a whole movement
Hmm.
as it relates to our rights to smoke. I didn't realize that there were so many different entities out there that were fighting to make sure we don't have that right.
The smoking ban is the new thing. So like we've always had smoking bans, right?
Right.
Just in general. It was also why, like, originally smoking was 18, now it's 21,
Hmm.
all these things like that. So there were some countries in the world that decided that they wanted to do smoking bans. So the European Cigar Association was really having some difficulties with, trying to keep that kind of under control. And then all of a sudden it started to be like, oh, this country's doing it, New Zealand's doing it, and this country's doing it. And then the United States, oh, this state is doing it, and this state is doing it. And so now there's all these little things, and there's these bills that are coming up, and PCA is on it. CRA is on it. Like, the Cigar Manufacturers Association, they are
Right.
on it because they really want to make sure that we have the right to enjoy cigars. Like, people talk all the time about, we keep the politics to a minimum just because,
Right.
people get funny
Right.
about that. But on a cigar politics, in part, I will say, we really have to be intentional about how we are operating, because doing something as small as not asking to smoke in an establishment and just assuming because it is outside that you can smoke could cause and snowball to something else. You
Exactly.
remember
Look at
when I did the
Minneapolis.
episode? Yes,
Hmm.
Minneapolis.
Look at
I literally
Minneapolis.
did the episode on smoking cigars in public on purpose,
Uh-huh.
because you could go to Starbucks and people love Starbucks. They're like, oh, Starbucks is great, right? But Starbucks has a whole patio area that each table actually has a no smoking sign
Right.
on it. So you can't actually smoke at Starbucks. But
Right.
you wouldn't know that had you not actually looked.
Right.
So then
And
you're
most
doing
people
all,
don't.
no, they don't. They
They,
just
they
assume,
don't look. They
oh,
assume
you
because it's outside.
exactly. And so it is our responsibility as cigar smokers to be responsible. Like, we cannot just, oh, I'm a cigar smoker, I can just smoke where I want, or I can just do this, or I could just do that. And it's like, no, you cannot. Because the thing is, the more you go outside of our bounds, the more then you are going to cause things to start snowballing for us to have less things that we can do. I
Right.
mean, it is imperative for us to make better decisions about about us as cigar smokers to make better decisions, because we cannot just say, oh, well, PCA and CRA, and the Cigar Manufacturers Association, they just got it. They need us to be able
They
to
need us.
advocate on
Right.
the ground. We cannot just be complacent and think that everything is just going to be fine. We just
And
can't.
people do that, Michelle. They do that. When you look at
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota passed a law, and I saw that Glenn put it out last year.
Mm-hmm.
They passed a law about smoking. So they don't have a lot of cigar lounges up there at all. I think they only have one in Minneapolis at all.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that place, you can't smoke a cigar for more than 5 minutes. When
Yeah.
you purchase a cigar there, you have 5 minutes to smoke it, or you need to not smoke it there, take it home and smoke it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it's a big damn deal,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, they go to buy cigars. They want to sit down and smoke the cigar. I can't smoke a cigar. I've been smoking this cigar for almost 2 hours.
Right.
You know,
And
you
they
you
want to
can't,
enjoy it.
yeah, you can't smoke a cigar in 5 minutes. But these are the types of things that they do to kind of curtail the efforts of cigar smokers,
Plain
to
packaging
limit
it.
our
Like,
rights. Yeah,
let's talk about that. Like, I literally was just in Canada, did an episode about smoking internationally. And in
right,
Canada, they don't want anybody, they want everything to be uniform.
right.
Not just Canada, there's other countries that do it as well, but like,
Hmm.
they want everything to be uniform because they don't want to entice children.
Right,
And so it's like, now the cigar companies are having these cigars and they have to mark up the price because now they have to add an additional band that any other place they wouldn't have to worry about, which then causes the price of the cigars to go up tremendously. So now we're in a place where, oh, we're responsible for having something that's way more expensive now. Like,
Almost forty
you know,
percent more
oh my gosh,
expensive in Canada.
I literally was in Canada, Niagara,
Hmm.
and I'm in this cigar lounge, and it was beautiful, beautiful place. They had some, Habano cigars. They also had domestic cigars. It was great. Like I really enjoyed it. But I realized that the cigars, just thinking about the Cuban cigars, literally a Cohiba and a Partagas was like $50.
Right.
For small, I mean, we're talking about like super small.
Yeah. Little
Looking like
robustos.
Partagas, the actual Toro Partagas was 65, I believe.
Wow. Those are
I
Las
was
Vegas
just
prices.
I was just like, oh, this is the Habanos. This is not
Wow.
regular Partagas. This is a Habanos. And
Hmm.
I was just like, there's no way. Oh, there's no way. Not me. Not Mechelle Merkerson. No,
Look,
sir.
look, it happened to me in Vegas because we don't have high taxes on cigars in Texas versus say places like New York and California, and so or Nevada. I love to smoke the little rare pinks by Fuente, right? They're like $30 here. I went to I'm gonna
Here.
call it out. And, hate. I went to Eight Lounge while we
Okay.
were at PCA,
Oh
and I
God.
walked in there. I'm like, cause I'm gonna buy some cigars. I don't
Right.
care. I know there you can take your own cigars because you're gonna pay $30 for a drink. But
Right.
I went in there and I went to grab me a rare pink, $85.
That
He
definitely is a
went to
lot.
ring it up. I said, I'm gonna need you to put that back. I'm gonna smoke my
Mm-mm.
own cigars. I just couldn't do it. I look. I love Carlino,
First
but I ain't
of
gonna be able to
all, what we're
smoke a
not about to
$85
do,
rare pink.
Carlina would have been like, look, I could just give you one.
I had
Like,
look, I had some Fuentes in my humidor in my bag when I walked in there, but of course I go in the lounge
yeah,
because
because of
here
course you want
you're
to
gonna
support.
support the lounge.
Absolutely.
Man,
But that,
not that,
no,
not
sir.
that day, not
Mm-mm.
that day. I went in there, ordered me an old fashioned, and pulled one out my travel humidor
He said,
and smoked it.
hey, we good.
Yeah, $85 plus tax. I can't even imagine what it was gonna be. It was probably gonna be $106 with tax. It's probably $16 worth of tax on the. I'm like, oh no,
Probably.
yeah,
No, we
no, no,
good.
no,
We
no, no,
good.
no, not
Not
Chevalier, not
us.
Chevalier, not
Uh-uh.
today.
No. You won't get me.
Oh no, 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 no! It's not pimping. We're not pimping Chevalier in Vegas.
Exactly. Right.
So let me ask you this, man. Well, all of your work with everything that you've done, because I've had you on here almost 2 hours, it feels like 20 minutes. But with all that you've done, is there any one thing that you regret in your cigar journey?
Actually, I would say that I just didn't start sooner.
Really?
That I didn't start sooner. I mean, obviously, God's timing is perfect, right? But
Hmm.
I just wish that I would have been more inquisitive before I left to go to college. I
So
just wish I would have
what
been
did you
more
want to start
inquisitive.
when you were like 12 or something? Like
Well, no,
when
when
did
I
you
was
want to start?
18, like I
Yeah.
wanted to have known before I left to go to college because there was when I came back to Alabama after being in Atlanta, there was this whole world that I had never saw. And I lived in Alabama for 5 years and went to school there and went to everything. So like there was this whole world that I never knew about. And I just wish that I had known more about cigars then, that I had been more
Hmm.
inquisitive because my uncle and my dad have been smoking cigars literally all my life. And I just never asked until my 23rd birthday. I
Wow.
mean, I always seen it, right? But like, I wasn't super curious about it. So
Hmm.
I just wish I would have learned a lot sooner. I also really wish that when I started, I wasn't such a perfectionist. So I spent
I don't know about that
well,
one.
I say it in this way because the time that I took to do certain things
Mm-hmm.
could have easily been reduced if I wasn't so nitpicky with
I can see
me
that. I understand that.
doing what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, because for me, I always think I'm operating in excellence. I'm going to do it in excellence. And what I think is excellence and what God thinks is excellence is two different things.
So would you say then that's what you would want your legacy to be? You know, when you sum it all up and you look back over your journey, and you know, believe it or not, your journey has been a pretty vast journey in a short amount of time. Would you look at that as your legacy? You will want your legacy to be that people remember you for perfection. What would your legacy be?
So
What would you say
honestly,
it would be?
if I had to say what I would want my legacy to be, I would want people to remember me for how I made them feel. Not not what I said, but how I made them feel.
Wow.
Because when you make someone have an emotion, right? We have 32 different emotions.
Right.
When you're activating emotions with someone, you're in. And for me, I don't take that lightly because I don't want to take advantage of anybody.
Right.
And so when you allow me to activate an emotion into you, then that means that your life has changed. You'll
Sort of like you did
forever,
me.
you'll forever remember, right? And
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
so I want my legacy to be that, you know, you had an experience with me, whether you never meet me in life, right? Because some people I
Hmm.
won't ever get to meet because that's just how life is.
Right.
But being that you saw me online and I activated an emotion for you that changed your life positively is what I want my legacy to be. Because you
Wow.
might not remember what the episode name is. You might not even remember what I said, but you remembered the emotion that you felt and it was a positive one. So you then were forever changed. Maybe you were committed, you were committed to, I'm just going to have a bad day. Because we do that as people. I'm just going to have a bad day. I'm committing to having a bad day.
I do
I already know it's a
it.
bad day today,
I do it
right?
at least
But
3 days a
then,
week.
but then you see my episode, and all of a sudden, your whole life, your whole day is changed. Now you feel better. Now you want to go and be a better mom or a better dad or a better cousin or auntie or whatever you are, and you're smiling, right? Because I'm smiling. And you're
Right.
just like, well, she's making me feel like I want to smile. So now I'm smiling. And so, like
Wow.
that's like you then are in that moment. I will never forget this. I was in high school and I literally I went to the bathroom and I noticed that this girl was on the floor and she was crying. And I, being the person that I am, said to her, I really hope that everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. And I hope that you have a great day. And that was it. That's all I said. I smiled at her. I left. I went to the bathroom. I left.
Wow.
A couple of days later, she told me, if you hadn't stopped me, I was on my way to go kill myself. Like I was
Wow.
about to commit suicide.
So you know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? Because we just having a conversation, so I gotta put it out.
Right.
So when you speak about, and you've spoken tonight a lot about that, you know, about having to pour into people, the people that have poured into you.
Mm-hmm.
We've had mutual people to pour, the same person pouring
Yeah,
into both
yeah.
of us.
Yeah, yeah.
It it almost seems like this, Mechelle, like you're ordained in a sense to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You're ordained to speak life into people, and there's not a lot of people that have the talent to do so, that
Mm-hmm.
have the will or
The
that
gift.
giving spirit to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I won't call it a gift. I'll call it a giving spirit
Yeah.
the gift of a giving
Yeah,
spirit, I
yeah.
think is probably the best way to describe it. I would say you're ordained to do so. And
Well,
that's
thank
pretty
you.
damn special. It's pretty damn special.
I'm
And you know what?
very
Let me just,
grateful.
I got to give you some flowers, all jokes aside, because you know that I'm genuine in what I'm saying, because you've witnessed it.
Same.
You saw me. You saw me. You saw how I was. And something in you said, let me pull him to the side.
Hmm.
Let me take 20 minutes to have a conversation with him. Not many people would do things like that. And I recognize that. I think that's very special. And I haven't had a chance to just, I thanked you then, but it's my show. So I get a chance to say thank you so much, because in doing that, it showed me that, yeah, I do deserve to be
Hmm.
here. And believe it or not, you saying that to me, you didn't know that I didn't feel like I didn't deserve to be there, because I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. But you
Hmm.
saying that to me, I was able to walk on the floor and do some great things while I was at
You did
PCA and
it, and you
experience
killed it.
something. I,
Hey,
I, I
killed
gotta
it.
admit, it was all right. It was
You
all
did. You
right. You
did
know what I'm saying?
great.
Between you and Daniel, it was all right. I will say that. And and I thank you for that, my friend. And that's why I can look at you and say, my friend, you don't have
Yes.
to see somebody every day to to feel the friendship. And from that day forth, anytime I reach out to you, you just, you know, uh, it makes me feel good to know that somebody believes in me, as
Absolutely.
somebody that sees the potential and that's willing to say, hey, you got to do it like this, try this, even give some correction, you know. And at my big old age, there's not been a lot of people to do that and do it in a meaningful way that you're safe.
Hmm.
And as a man, I talk about
Yeah.
vulnerability and, me looking at you and coming out and telling you, Mechelle, I'm scared, and you not looking at me as
No.
I'm weak and saying, hey, no, you
No.
got to come on out here and get it because you deserve to be here. Now go
Right.
down there and kick ass on the
Hmm.
floor. And so I got to thank you for that. And I have to more so thank you for being my guest tonight, because this is a conversation that I wanted to have. I remember I got ready to do it, and I think that was when I broke my leg. I think I had to
Yes.
cancel or something,
Yeah.
and we didn't get to do it, but it's been something that I've wanted to do for so long. So before we get off of here, because there's still, I got a couple more things, but I
Yeah.
just
Please
gotta
do.
say it while it's on my chest
Yeah.
to tell you thank you,
I'm
Michelle. I
so
really, from the
grateful.
bottom of my heart, appreciate you and what you do every day, what you bring to the community. For those of you that are watching this, and to those of you that will see this tomorrow and the next day, and on YouTube and stuff like that. This isn't posturing for the show. A connection was made with this young lady, and I have the utmost respect and admiration for you and for what you do. I don't think people realize how much you do.
Hmm.
I had an opportunity to witness it, and I know what I do, and this shit ain't easy. Excuse my French, but I'm just
Oh
keeping it
boy.
real. This shit is not easy. It's
Let's
not
talk about
easy
it.
to get up and do posts, and I'm a perfectionist about my posts.
Hmm.
And it's not easy to come on here and bare your soul and have conversations with people when you're not feeling your best
Hmm.
and things like that. Hell, my leg is swollen now. But the thing is that when you have somebody like you on the opposite end of the screen, that you can sit down and talk about the goodness of God and talk about
Amen.
how um, what intentional looks like, what genuine caring looks like, what pouring into other people looks like. It's a great feeling, man. And you know, I know for sure that you're where you are because of who you are. You know, you could go in there and talk about, flavor cigars every day and not talk about shit else, and people are gonna love it just because it's you, my friend. And just keep doing what you're doing. Now, I don't want to
Thank you.
cry. So, lastly, I'm
Thank you
gonna
so
say,
much.
no, you're welcome, man. Thank you for what you did for me. it meant a lot to me, and it was
You know, I'm always
probably,
here.
yeah. And you mentioned it a few minutes ago. You wanted your legacy to be that you're memorable, that in essence, take people to a place that impacts them positively and
Mhm.
and and creates change. And you've done that with Cigars with M. You've done that with your work with the PCA. You've done that, moderating panels and the articles you've written, even being featured. You've done that with the connections that you've made. And I hope that anybody that's watching this can see that and will say, hey, I can do it too.
Mhm.
Because believe me, after talking to you that day, I realized there's a whole lot of things that I could do. And this is
Yes,
just the beginning for
it
me. And
is.
so I thank you. So, lastly, Mechelle, is there a message or a philosophy that you live by that you want to share with the audience tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this? A little bit.
Move to the right a little. Yeah. There you
Okay.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
So this is actually a Bible verse. It says 31:25. So
Hmm.
God rest my Nana's soul. My Nana actually gave me this verse like when I was younger. And when she passed, I actually got it tattooed on my wrist so I could remember it forever. And it is Psalms 31:25. Strength is her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. Strength and
Wow.
honor is her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. And so for me knowing that like strength and honor is my clothing, like I'm putting on my armor, right? And I will rejoice in time to come. So even if this moment, whatever that moment is, it doesn't look good, I know that I'm going to rejoice in time to come.
Wow.
I know that it's
Amen.
going to be all right. I know that everything's going to be fine. It might not look great. I might not feel great. I might not even feel like being in in a space at all. Like I don't even want to be here. Like I might feel that way, right? Because we all have moments where we have to go do something, but we don't even want to be there, right?
Exactly.
Um, and so for me, that verse is just it's deeply rooted. Like my foundation is solid, right? And
Hmm.
so knowing that that is what drives me because I know that my nana, she instilled into me so many different things, but she saw enough in me to give me that verse, right? She gave me a
Right.
verse, she gave my sister a verse, like early on. And to know that every time I look at my wrist, that I can be reminded that she's still with me, but also reminded that I have strength and I do have honor, which is what I try to live by, right?
Right.
And that even in whatever the situation is, I can rejoice in time to come.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing, my friend. That is amazing, my friend. I tell you what, it reminds me of a verse that I learned in the third grade back in Gary, Indiana, at
Okay,
church. It was Acts 16th
Gary.
chapter. Gary, now I'm a hood,
Oh, so you and Michael Jackson are from the same area.
yeah, same city, same high school, same everything. He's a lot older than me. A lot older than me. He was. But the chapter that I live by is Acts 16, chapter 31st verse. And it says simply, and I'm going to paraphrase it, believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and you should be saved. Now, I don't look at that all the time as I'm saved and when I die, I'm going to go to heaven. But
Right,
what I
because there's
do
work to be
believe is
done.
that when I'm focused on the principles of a spiritual life,
Hmm.
that that in every situation that comes against me, I will be saved. I will be saved.
Hmm.
I will take for example, I'll walk into a convention hall in Las Vegas on a crowded, hot day, not feeling sure of myself,
Hmm.
trying to keep that confident look on my face, and God will send somebody to save me in my moment of fear and insecurity. And on that day, Acts 16, chapter 31st verse came to fruition when I walked up to you and you hugged me and said, "Hey, let me talk to you over here in the corner for 30
Hmm.
minutes." You saved me, and I'm not being funny. I know some people
No.
look at that and think I'm talking noise, but you saved me because I tell you what, had I not had that conversation, I don't know what my experience would have been like when I walked out on the floor that day. And it
Hmm.
was a big deal for me. I've never forgotten it. That's why every opportunity I get, I try to support whatever you have going, whether it's a like, a share, a comment in your inbox saying, "Yo, you killed that," whatever it is. I try to do it because I believe in you.
Thank
I
you.
believe that you're the real deal, my friend. And I'm honored to call you my friend.
Thank
And
you.
anytime that you want to be on Conversations with Chevalier, join me on the lounge or me and Ray do whatever you want to do. If you sitting around and you think, man, I need to, because you got my phone number. We got each other's
Right,
phone
right.
number.
You got the
You
real
know,
number, not the
yeah, I got
business
the
number.
real
Let's
number.
let's be
I
let's be
I ain't
clear.
got,
You really in
yeah,
there.
yeah. I got the real number. So, and it goes both ways. Anytime that you want to do something, if there's something I could do to help, if there's something that you're thinking about, hey, Chevalier would do good at this. Let me give him some wisdom. I'm always open to hear from you. I may be a little older than you, but you're a whole lot wiser than me as it relates to our community and what we're doing. And I respect you and I respect what you're doing. You know this. I'm a big fan of you. And I just want to see you continue to do what you're doing. And I want to learn as much as I can from you. So one of these days, I want us to do something together. I don't know what
Yeah,
we're
we're gonna
going
do
to do.
something together. What
We
we
got to
should
do
do,
something together.
we
We
gotta
got to
do a
be in the
live
same
version.
space. We got to do something together. In we got to be together. Not on the live in two different states. You 15 hours away. We got to do something together. And so let's figure it out sometime soon and make it happen. Because I'm one of your biggest fans. And like I said, I'm blessed to be able to call you friend. And thank you for taking the time to come on the Conversations with Chevalier. But before we go, you got any advice for me?
Of course. Remember that you are who you are for a reason, and that you are walking in your purpose, and don't delay at all.
I got it. I got it, partner. You still got some wine left in that glass?
I
So before we go, let's do a toast. Here's to you, my friend. Here's to a great conversation. It's going to be one of my favorites of conversation with Chevalier. I appreciate you. I salute you. Keep being amazing. Cheers.
do. Cheers.
For all of y'all that are still here with us, we went a little long tonight. I think we did about 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it's my damn show, so I can go as long as I want to. I've had the incomparable Mechelle Merkerson, Cigar Education Specialist, and my friend. I hope
Yes.
you guys enjoyed the show. Hey, I'm going to post it on YouTube. I'm going to post it tonight on Instagram when we get off of here. For those of us that are still in here, go in there, follow everybody, because that's how we make the community grow. Make sure that you guys look at Moments with Mechelle. If you're not following her page, go in there and follow it. And check out what Cigars with M every day. Every day. I'm on Central Time. I catch it about 7
Yeah,
a.m.
every
Uh,
Monday is new episodes that come
yeah,
out.
yeah, so get out there, check it out. I promise you, there's something to learn. If you have questions, I can say for sure that if you put the question in there, if you make the suggestion, you're gonna interact with her. She's gonna definitely take it to heart. And if it's something she can do, she's gonna do it. I can bear witness
It's
to it because
true.
there's been a couple that I've put out there, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh yeah, Chevalier, I just put this out there. What you want to do?"
Yeah.
So make sure you guys go in there and follow her. This has been Conversations with Chevalier with Mechelle Merkerson. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
Much
you
love,
so
my
much,
friend.
my friend. Thank you. I'm
Yes,
so grateful to
yes,
just be in this space with you. This was a great fellowship.
yes, it was. Hey, I don't do interviews, I do conversations. And check it out. Before we go, Candy Connections, hey, thank you. Sissy Smoking, thank you. Everybody that joined us
Thank you so
tonight
much to
and put your
everybody that
comments in
joined.
there. Man, thank y'all.
Thank
And
you.
stay tuned for another Conversations with Chevalier Monday after next. I'll tell y'all who my guest is gonna be. And I want you guys to be here. Michelle, on my next one, please jump in the comments and give your views and thoughts because it matters.
Yes, yes, I got you. I'm gonna have to put it on my calendar.
All right.
Yeah,
No,
look,
I'll send it to you. I just
please,
because hey,
please do.
yeah, on your content planner too. You got
Yes,
the content planner. For those of y'all that don't know,
three
she has this
calendars.
amazing content planner. So make sure you go in there and follow her. Hit the link in her bio. She has a content planner. For those of us that do social media, it can definitely help you in your business. I need to get it myself. I'm gonna do that. So make sure you guys support my homegirl, Mechelle Merkerson, at Moments with Mechelle, Cigars with M. Thank you, my friend. Much love to
Thank
you.
you. Have a good
You
night. It's good to see
too. Good
you.
night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This has been Conversations with Chevalier.